Mundra is one of the big issues for Tata Power. We are very close to finalizing it with the government of Gujarat. We are going for hydropower plants in Bhutan, and we are doing pumped hydro plants over here in Mumbai. Right now, 44% of our installed capacity is clean energy, which is solar, wind and hydro. In 2030, will become 70%. And 2045 will become 100%.
What is the total money you're talking about, and where is the funding for each of them coming from? Is there a lot of AI that you will deploy? Where will you be putting money?
So we always keep on looking that which are the businesses which gives us the threshold of returns. Every year we will be putting about 25,000 crore. Our revenue will grow by nearly 2 times. Our EBITDA will grow by nearly 2.5 times. By 2030, our profit will double by that time.
We've seen a distinct slowdown in power demand.
In 2024, we had 37 days of temperature more than 50 degrees in many places. Now, that sort of heat condition we did not see in 25.
Hello and welcome to Latha and the Leaders. In my 30 years as a journalist covering both corporate affairs and public policy, one sector that has fascinated me is the power sector, because in this sector, policy itself is a challenge to profit making. Just look at the evolution of policy. We first had only public sector being entrusted with generation and definitely with distribution of power. Then we had the independent power producers policy. Then we had the Electricity Act of 2003, the ultra mega power projects policy with coal linkages, and the linkages got into a mess with the courts. Then we had the RDSS, so we had Uday. We had, of course, more recently the late payment surcharge, trying to force some financial discipline into distribution companies. Now, one technocrat, power sector technocrat, who has seen these power sector flip-flops as well as the technological evolution from old king coal to renewable power, is my guest today, Dr. Praveersinha, the Managing Director and CEO of Tata Power. Dr. Sinha, thank you very much for joining me. I have a lot to learn from this interview.
Thank you, Latha. Such a pleasure to be in your show, and this is a very marquee show that you are doing, and I feel privileged to be part of this.
That's very kind of you, sir. You know, first I'll wear my journalist hat and ask you some spot questions, but then we come to policy analysis as well. So the first spot question which your investors and policymakers want to know is what is the latest on the Mundra Power conversation with the Gujarat Electricity? Is the PPA close to getting signed?
You are absolutely right. Mundra is one of the big issues for Tata Power, and I can tell you that we are very close to finalizing it with the government of Gujarat, and it should happen very quickly. Any day it should happen. We expect that once this is finalized with the government of Gujarat, we will be able to take it to all the other 4 states. It's a win-win for everyone, because this is one of the lowest cost producers of power, very stable plant, and it supplies to all the 5 states at full capacity as per the PPA. And the arrangement will ensure that the plant operates fully right up to the end of the PPA term, which is 2038. And we feel that this will give new support and life to this plant, which in between has been running under Section 11, but should now run under the new SPPA arrangement.
When you say very soon, should we expect it in the 2025, in the calendar year itself?
Yes, absolutely. Within this month, I think we are just right there.
And how much time will the other states take to follow suit?
We already had discussions with all the 4 states, and they have said that as soon as the terms are finalized with Gujarat, because Gujarat is the major procurer of power, nearly 47.5%. So once that is done, they will also go ahead on the similar terms.
Okay.
And I think there is a lot of understanding amongst all the procurers that this is a good plant, and they want power from this plant because it's a substantial quantum of overall supply that goes.
Absolutely, and the country needs power. What is the return? Will it be somewhat similar to what it was before this stoppage? Will it be similar to the Section 11 returns?
We are trying to work something closer to that. The actual details will come once the final approval comes from the government. But I think we'll be very close to that sort of an arrangement.
Okay, that's very good news, both for the continuation of the power plant as well as for power consumers. The other big, expectation from your investors and from the sector itself is this UP privatization of distribution. Orissa has been a genuine success. It is very obvious in your latest Q2 numbers as well. How quickly do you think the UP distribution bids will come?
So let me try to put this in the right perspective. Odisha was a very difficult thing to turn around. We took during the middle of COVID on 1st June 2020, and turning around during that period required huge amount of mobilization of resources, people. We have learnt a lot from that, and that has been an excellent example not only for Odisha but also for rest of the country, that how public-private partnerships can be done, and it can be done not only in urban areas, which we had done in Delhi, but also in a combination of urban and rural areas.
Okay.
And I think that learning will be very useful for us, as also for many other private sector and other utilities to take up the privatization of distribution as and when it happens.
Are you getting a sense that other states are looking at the Orissa model?
Definitely we have, of course UP is there, but some other states are also in discussion. And there are two big things which are expected. One is the Electricity Act amendment, which is talking of parallel licensing, that there can be more than one supplier of electricity. Something that we do in Mumbai, where you have more than one supplier of electricity. We expect that will be opened up in the Electricity Act amendment, and that will be a big step forward. The second is there has been some discussion by the group of ministers which was formed, and that group of ministers recommendations are expected. We are told that many of the recommendations are towards public-private partnership, especially for states which are under huge financial stress. They have identified 10 states in the country who have financial stress in terms of huge losses, accumulated losses, and also have huge subsidy. And it is very important for them that the financial turnaround takes place through a arrangement of public-private. So we do expect that in next 3 to 4 months, and possibly in the budget itself, there might be some very good announcements of states being asked to go for public-private partnership with some financial support from Government of India. So this will be a big booster for the distribution reforms that is going to happen in the country.
Oh, not a day too late, it's needed. But I was under the impression that a bit of the indebtedness of distribution companies is coming down because of the late payment surcharge policy of the government. No?
The late payment surcharge basically supported the generating companies in getting the payment.
Getting money.
But the distribution companies' cumulative losses is still
the
very
stock
large.
Of losses are still there.
It's about 6,60,000 crores, and that continues to get added every year because that needs to be funded. And that is where I think some of the states, especially the 10 identified states, will have to go for a reform wherein they will get some support from the government to take care of the long-term repayment of those losses.
Provided they privatize.
Provided they. So there is a proviso in that, and I think
there's a carrot and a stick.
Absolutely right.
Okay, okay. So you expect UP to be the first off the block because they've already announced?
I think so. UP is already ready. We have been in discussion with them, and there have been a huge number of stakeholder discussions that UP government has carried out, and they should be in a very advanced stage of coming with the bid documents. I am told every month that it will come, so let's hope it comes sooner than later.
Okay, it's not as if they will wait for the budget where you are hoping that.
I think they may come before
even
that.
before that. Okay, okay, that's good to hear. Now, post Odisha, of course, the UP is yet to come. Before I get to the renewables, rooftop and other plans, can you just detail your Capex plans?
So, our Capex plan are in 4 areas.
Okay.
The first is in conventional generation, we are going for hydropower plants in Bhutan, and we are doing pumped hydro plants over here in Mumbai, where we already have our hydro plants. So, we already have one reservoir over there, and we'll put the second reservoir and the generating plant. And the first of the pumped hydro plant, 1000 megawatt in Bhivpuri, will be operational in FY29.
In Bhivpuri?
In
That's
Bhivpuri,
Bombay.
not very far from here, just 100 kilometers from here. And the work has already started, and we are in very good shape to implement it and commission it in FY29. Similarly, the second pumped hydro plant, which is a 1800 megawatt Shirota plant, we expect the rest of the approvals from forest and environment should come in next 3 months, and hopefully by mid of next year we will start the construction.
That's
activity.
Bhutan.
No, this is the Shirota one, which is also very close by, which is which is near Lonavala, I would say. So it's another, both of them are within 100 kilometer radius. The third is the Bhutan project, where a 600 megawatt work has started nearly a year back. It's a joint venture with the Drug Green, which is a government-owned company in Bhutan. There we will be ready by again 2029. And then there's another 1125, which we recently 2 weeks back signed the agreement, the concession agreement and the power purchase and the other agreement, shareholders agreement. Again, it's a joint venture with DGPC.
Where is this?
This is again in Bhutan, 1125. There the work will start possibly mid of next year. It's a huge plant. 1125 is the second largest capacity hydro plant in Bhutan. And there we are expecting multilateral banks to come and fund that. So I think we have huge amount of investment lined up.
These these 4 are hydropower plants only, or are they also including a PSP, a pump storage plant?
So the first 2 that I mentioned, the Bhivpuri and Shirota, both of them are pumped storage, and they will be bundled with our renewable power to give 24/7 power to, whether it is to industries or to commercial establishments, data centers, or even for that matter to Discom.
There are data centers coming along the way.
Absolutely. So I think you will find that many of these data centers, renewable energy requirement or clean energy requirement will be fed from the solar, wind as well as the pumped hydro plant.
But probably I'm going to ask a naive question. Now that you have other data, battery storage, BESS coming up, isn't the pump storage a more expensive way of storing power? You think it is economically viable even if BESS comes up?
Absolutely. So when we talk of solutions, it's not either or, it's and. Battery storage is for a shorter period of storage. It's for 2 hours or 4 hours. But a pump storage have capability to go to even 6 hours, 8 hours, or even 10, 12 hours. So you have capability to control the flow of water and generate for a longer period of time depending upon how much of generation is required. So I think, and also the battery storage life is 10, 12 years. Pump storage is 40, 50 years. So, you know, so once you make it, we are talking of generations who will benefit, like we are benefiting from the hydro plant that was set up in 1915.
Yes.
So it's 110 years and we are still getting power from those hydro plants, and you can see it right
the one
here.
at Khopoli.
Yeah, at Khopoli and Bhivpuri and Bhira.
Okay, I must say that, you know, as a child, I am a Bombayite, a Mumbaikar, and we were taken to picnics to see the Khopoli plant. You know, the hydropower plant, we wanted to be shown, and it's well laid out. It's a beautiful lawn. So I remember as a child being taken.
You should come and see the plant. It is still operating.
Yes.
And it's very beautiful. The garden over there is in full bloom in January and February, and I would take the opportunity to invite you and come and see the plant.
Oh, certainly. Yeah. I mean, these are great memories as well. That is as far as power is concerned. And the other big vertical where you all are spending money and expanding is in solar power, where where you are a manufacturer, you're not just a power generator, you are manufacturing solar panels. What is the cost for the getting into the ingots and the wafers as well?
So, as
that is in Tamil Nadu?
No, not as yet. So, we've not decided where the location will be. So, as you rightly mentioned, solar is another, or renewable is another big area we are into generation. We are into generation of solar power. We are also in generation of wind power.
Yes.
So, we have right now nearly 5,800 megawatt of generation capacity, out of which 4,800 is solar and 1,000 is wind. And as we speak, there is another 5,000 which is under construction in different stages, and hopefully next renewable solar and wind, and we expect that in next 12 to 16 months most of them will get commissioned.
So 1 minute, I'll just stop you there, because in 12 to 16 months if you're going to construct another 5,000 megawatts of renewable, your renewable will surpass your thermal in the next 16 months.
Absolutely right, you are 100% correct, and in fact right now 44% of our installed capacity is clean energy, which is solar, wind and hydro. In 2030 will become 70% and 2045 will become 100%. So that's the way that we are looking at our energy transition. 2015 we had just 16% of our installed which was clean energy. So I think we have pivoted towards clean energy in last 10 years, and we are very clear that we want to not only supply affordable power, but we also want to supply clean power and 24/7 power.
That's very visionary. Not always have traditional companies been able to withstand a new technology. I mean, we saw Alcatel or Bell telephones not being able to withstand mobile. But to come back to your investments, you were telling me that you're going to put up an ingot and wafer plant and become fully integrated in solar. Was there a need? I mean, would not you just stick with solar panels? What was the benefit of backward integration?
So, as I had mentioned, we already have a manufacturing plant for cell and module. It's a nearly 4.3 gigawatt. It's in Tamil Nadu in Tirunvalli, and this plant is operational. It is one of the most efficient plant and one of the biggest single location plant. There is also now a need that we do backward integration, and the next stage of backward integration is that we go for wafers and ingots. We are looking for a 10 gigawatt of wafer and ingot manufacturing. It will cost about 6,000 crores, and we are in the process of finalizing the location. We are also in the process of finalizing the technology and technology partner for that. Hopefully in next 2 months we will conclude this, and then we will start the construction activity.
Because I heard reports that it could be in Orissa or Odisha, or it could be in Tamil Nadu. You all have not made up your mind?
We are still under discussions, because it requires certain amount of land, water. Also some basic infrastructure facilities have to be there in terms of the electrical connectivity and some facilities in terms of ETP and ZLD and all that. So we are in discussion. We again within next 2 months we will conclude that, and we will then decide on the location, and our objective is to set it up very quickly, because the country needs this.
Yes.
There is barely any capacity of ingot and wafers in the country, and we will again possibly one of the fastest to set up a plant of that capacity.
I have to get my finance journalist question in. What is the money we are talking about for all these three? One, the hydro that you spoke about earlier, and then the solar manufacturing itself, this ingot and wafer backward integration. What is the total money you're talking about, and where is the funding for each of them coming from?
So,
we are talking about 10,000 crore, 12,000 crore?
We are talking of a much bigger number, but what happens is this money does not come within 1 year, it comes over a period of time. So, if we see in last year when we had presented to the analyst and to all of you, we had shared that our next 5-year plan is to put more than 1 lakh crores, and every year we will be putting about 25,000 crore, which will be typically be 1/3 each in our conventional generation, which is our hydro plants. It will be in transmission and distribution, where we are adding huge amount of capacity in transmission in Mumbai, as also in other TBCB bids that we are doing, and you will see many of them are getting implemented in next 1 year.
Much of it will be debt, isn't it? Because I mean, retained earnings will not be able to fund so much.
Yeah. So what happens in infrastructure projects like this? The typical debt equity is a 70-30. So 70% of the will come as debt, and 30% will come as equity. The equity will be, of course, internal accruals that will come, and the internal accruals will be good not only for equity but also for debt repayment and interest cost repayment. So I think the business plan is very robust that we have. We will add capacity in our renewables, we'll add the manufacturing capacity, we'll add capacity in transmission, and in distribution the new opportunities which is coming, that will be there, apart from our hydro and pumped hydro. So on an integrated basis, if you see, we are trying to cover the full value chain of supplying clean energy, and the objective is that we make it more affordable, we make it more make in India, and we make it more
inclusive,
to the needs of the country.
Okay, but just some numbers again. Financially, how much will debt go up from now to say 2030, the first plan that you have, your 1 lakh crore plan?
Yeah.
How much will debt go up, and how much will therefore debt servicing go up?
So our debt servicing, we always have a debt equity ratio of less than 2, and which is very good for infrastructure. And similarly, our debt EBITDA, we always want to be less than 4. There may be some periods where it may go little more, but on an average, on a weighted average basis, because many of the investments that we do, they start generating money also. So not that everyone is a 3-year or a 4-year. Many of the investments start giving me returns within 12 months. And our ability to execute projects faster is very good now. The learnings that we have got in last few years, our start to finish is less than 12 months, and that's where we are able to rotate the capital in a much smarter way.
Okay. You know, Tata Group itself is getting into data centers in a big way. We just saw the TCS announcement. And separately, you have the Gujarat announcement of the foundry for a chip. Will you be, both of them are huge power consumers. Will you be a beneficiary as a power supplier to either of them or both of them?
We are actually supplying to all the Tata Group companies. We started with Tata Steel. If you remember, we had the tie-up of 379 megawatt of clean energy, a mix of solar and wind. Those projects are now getting commissioned. We supply to all the other group companies, Tata Motors, Indian Hotels, Tata Chemicals. So you name the company and we have.
So this will also be a big boon for you? I mean, will it be a positive?
Absolutely. Whether it is data center or Tata Electronics or Agratas or Tata Motors new plant in Tamil Nadu. So everywhere we supply, because what we find is that we have now very good solutions where we can give clean energy for a longer period of time. And also with the pumped hydro coming, we'll be able to possibly give to 90-95% of their energy through clean energy. And it is much lower in cost, and there is no inflation in it. These are flat rates for nearly 25 years. So it's good for them, it is good economics, and it is also good for climate and good for community. So I think it's ticking all the boxes.
Yes, especially with the group, Tata Group, these boxes are usually something they look for to take. They are not only looking at profit, but nevertheless your investors will look for that.
Yes.
Can you give us any compounded annual growth rate figure in terms of revenue growth or earnings growth or EBITDA growth?
So last year we had done the projections, and we expect that our revenue will grow by nearly 2 times, our EBITDA will grow by nearly 2.5 times.
By 2030?
By 2030, our profit will double by that time. So I think we are keeping pace with the type of growth that we are seeing, and we are very much on track. I would say that Our core businesses, all of them are doing exceedingly well. You have seen consistent performance, 24 quarters of increase in PAT.
Yes.
And I think the foundation is very strong for the company to go to the next stage.
Okay, that's good to hear, sir. I had a doubt when you were talking about all these discoms now being kind of incentivized to privatize, which will happen when the Electricity Amendment Act comes. Do you see any curveballs over there? These places have been fraught with political problems because of free power, or because the law and order was not good enough to stop power theft. But now when you get into distribution, would you worry that these problems will be sorted out?
In a democratic system, these challenges will always be there. But what I find now is that there is strong conviction in the government that they need to bring about this change. There is also a strong conviction from the consumers that they want better quality service, better quality power, and also economical cost power. So in Odisha, we have been there for last more than 4 years. There's been no tariff increase, and the benefit of loss reduction has directly passed on to the consumers. So with so much of consumer price index and other increase that is happening, and the inflation that is happening, there has been no increase for them. So I think, and they get better supply, they get reliable supply, better customer service. So I think in all, it's a win-win for everyone, and there is a much better appreciation and
There's
understanding.
no denying that, whether it is Delhi or whether it's Odisha, the privatization of the distribution has worked for the benefit of both states. But every state may not deliver so much by way of law and order. Are you confident that the political landmines will be resolved? Because distribution has always been a politicized sector.
I agree with you that it has its own challenges, and there is no simple solution, but we have to work very closely, and we actually work very closely everywhere, because there will be some people who will have differences of opinion, and they would like to disturb the normal changes that is happening. But I think that we have learnt over a period of time that sustained effort, advocacy and conviction that we have on these transformations and changes, and with the support of the state government, we should be. Also, we need to understand that this will not happen that the whole state will get privatized or public-private.
It will be in pockets.
It will be in blocks, and it will be in pieces that it will be done. And people will like to understand that if you do it in few places, what is the experience, and
the demonstration effect will
absolutely right help. So we need to take it that it will be step by step, and it will not be one single drastic measure of the transformation.
Fair point, sir, fair point. Now actually you gave me some renewables numbers saying that that by 2030 you're going to be 70% in renewables. There is a lot of land requirement for those projects. Is it going to be that easy, or already we are seeing the pace of growth of renewables kind of flattening for the whole country? I don't mean for your company. You think you'll be able to keep up to that pace, or will land be a big issue?
So there are two very big challenges when you set up renewable projects. One is land for setting up of the plant, whether it is solar or wind, and there are very few areas which have very good quality of intensity of solar rays, or where the wind speeds are very good. So there is always a challenge of getting that much land in those locations, because the other places where you will get, it will be little suboptimal, but you can still generate solar power or wind power. The second is about the power evacuation, and one of the biggest challenges, how do we set up such large transmission capacities and also get the right of way for and the land for the transmission line. So those are two challenges that we have, and that is why you have seen that some of the projects have got delayed by 6 months to 1 year. I think everyone is making huge amount of effort, whether it is the developers or the state governments, in providing the support. There is a friction that happens, but I think how to address it and ensure that there is a collective effort that is made by the local community, and they should also get something extra in lieu of the land that they are giving or the rights that they are giving for setting up of these transmission lines or these.
No, actually this evacuation of the power and the grid not being there, because the grid is used to thermal power where it is a constanter. Now the grid has to get used to both renewable and thermal. Even in Europe, I heard policymakers worrying that we can't go on with renewable too fast because the grid is not available or capable. The chief economic advisor wrote an article in India, wrote an article in a newspaper saying that, you know, there will be a grid evacuation issue. Is that a very serious issue that, you know, evacuating the power will therefore delay the renewable march?
So there are two aspects of it. One is the quantum of grid requirement has gone up. Just to give you an idea, solar has a PLF of just 25%. So for generating 100 gigawatt of power, you actually set up 4 times the capacity. You will set up 400 gigawatt of solar or wind. So you typically will also require 400 gigawatt of evacuation and not for 100 gigawatt. So that much more evacuation lines.
That much more capital has to go there.
That much more capital has to go. The second aspect is that the grid stability is a challenge. What happens all of a sudden at 8 o'clock, the solar generation starts increasing, and today we have say 120 gigawatt, and it starts from some number of 20-30 gigawatt in 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock, goes up to 120, and then again 4 o'clock it reduces. Yes. So you need to have a balancing of power between solar, wind and requirement of conventional generation,
yes,
which is
as a backup,
which is coal and hydro. So you need to do much better management of the grid, and also there are a lot of equipments that are now available in terms of reactive power management, in terms of harmonics management and all that. So I think the grid has become more complex, because there are too many players, and it will in fact increase more because when we talk of distributed generation, that is rooftop solar, then that many more houses will have generation, and they will not only be using some power themselves but also be giving some power to the grid. So how do you do the bidirectional flow of power, and how do you manage the grid on a real time basis? So it's a complex thing, but this is something that as power engineers we handle this day in and day out. We have solutions. We need to simulate those situations and design our equipments, design our network to cater to that requirement.
Okay. You feel that technology is growing, or is there a lot of AI involved in this? I mean, that is a state-of-the-art question we have to ask everyone. Is there a lot of AI that you will deploy?
Absolutely right, because what happens is many actions are happening simultaneously. You have renewable, which is impacted depending upon the wind speed or the solar intensity. A cloud cover will automatically take away huge amount of capacity from the grid. Similarly, you have rooftop solar. You will also have a lot of EV charging at some stage. Okay. So you have multiple players who are participating in the grid. The earlier grid used to be a very simple grid, in the sense large generating, large single transmission, large utilization. Exactly. Now you have multiple players who are generating, multiple who are giving,
and millions actually,
and multiple who are using the power for charging their vehicles, or in fact you can go the other way around. You from vehicle to grid you can charge also during certain hours. So I think in such situation the only way to do it is through AI, and there's a huge amount of data that is coming in. How do you use that data? And this has to be done on real time basis. It has to be done right then and there, and not something which will be left to chance. And so AI actually helps you to manage the pool of power that comes in, and the pool of power that needs to be supplied to the, and the instability of the grid should not happen. So your grid has to be very, very stable, and under no circumstances it can become unstable.
Yeah, absolutely. So actually now Tata Power has so many verticals. You know, you'll have conventional generation, you have renewable generation, you have transmission, you have distribution. You are a manufacturer as well, not just a service company. You're manufacturing the entire solar, chain practically. And then you have rooftops. Where will you be putting money? I mean, which makes good money and what will you be concentrating on?
So we always keep on looking that which are the businesses which gives us the threshold of returns. So anywhere that we put money, it has to meet the criteria of threshold of returns. If it is not, then we would not like to do that. And number of areas we have moved away. If you remember a few years back, we used to do the solar pumps. We moved away from that because it was not giving us the type of returns, and we thought that this is an area that we should not continue. So similarly, we keep on refreshing this from time to time and see that what are the areas where we should grow and it should meet the threshold of return. And to that extent, we are blessed as an integrated company because we find that each one of them is giving a very good return. The only challenge is the cycle time. Hydro plant takes 4 to 5 years. The solar plant, which was taking 24 months, now takes 18 months. Manufacturing plant, we can do it in 12 months to 18 months. So we need to see that how we are able to churn out this money and the returns from the investment that we make. The transmission projects that we do in Mumbai, we are able to complete within 12 months. So our start to finish is much faster, and thereby it is able to generate much faster returns for us. So I think being in multiple businesses, one is it gives us a very good insight on how to manage the energy. So we are not just supplying them electrons, but we are also supplying them energy solution and energy services. And that's a unique capability that we have. We are not just pure solar manufacturing or solar power generation, but the knowledge that we get in distribution or in trading helps us to package the power that we give under the FDRE or roof or on 24/7 clean energy. So I think lot of learnings have come from each other of these businesses, and we are able to give a comprehensive solution rather than piecemeal solution.
Okay. Oh yes, that certainly is. So you will be keeping your investments or continuing with investments in almost all these verticals.
Yes.
Okay, let me come to the economics of economy of the last 2 quarters itself. We have seen a distinct slowdown in power demand in calendar 2025 versus calendar 2024. Do you see it rising next year? Was this a one-off? Was it because of some slowdown? And do you see it increasing next year?
So what has happened, climate change is become a reality, and we have been seeing year after year there has been severe changes in the way the supply of power has changed, and this is because of the climate change.
So the extreme heat in 2024 was not seen in 25.
Yeah, so 2024 we had 37 days of temperature more than 50 degrees in many places, and we had extreme weather conditions in nearly 300 days. Now that sort of heat condition we did not see in 25. In fact, in 24 we had heat conditions in the month of February, which was unheard of, and then of course we had very high temperatures in April, May, June, and then again in September, October. This year the rains came in mid of May, and it was there right up to mid of October, and still raining in some parts of the country now. So now this sort of precipitation we have not seen. Just to give you an example, in Lonavala and where our water reservoirs, hydro plants are there, we have seen nearly 70% additional rain compared to the previous year. And also what has happened is that the precipitation which used to be spread over 3 months, that sort of precipitation happens in a much shorter period of time. So climate change is something that
so that accounted for the lower demand for
absolutely power. And based on whatever projections we have seen,
till 2050, we expect that many parts of the country will have temperatures more than 50 degree, and that's why the need of air conditioning and need of additional power is there. But we will have some freak years, we will have El Nino, El Nina, various of these things which will happen. But I think as a power company, we need to be always present, and we need to plan it.
So it was entirely climate related, you think, the fall
absolutely.
in demand?
The fall in demand, the industrial growth, the residential and commercial growth has been very consistent, but the cooling requirement that was there because of air conditioning, that went down drastically.
Yeah, I know the air condition makers also told us the same thing on television, but I just wanted to check whether you feel confident that secular demand continues to be good. The other regulatory or whatever policy question I wanted to ask is the Supreme Court ruling that regulatory assets have to be paid off by the distribution companies or the state governments. Is that being followed, and how will it impact you? Are you expecting more money because of that?
So, the Supreme Court has asked APTEL to monitor this, and APTEL has been continuously since the order having hearings and has asked various states regulatory commissions to come up with an action plan of amortizing the regulatory assets. And the recent ruling of Supreme Court was that it should be done over a period of 7 years from the date of the order. And I think each of the regulatory commissions have come up with an action plan. What it will mean is that the amortization will take place within 7-year period. It is very good for all the distribution companies.
What is your regulatory asset? How much in terms
so
of
we have about 4,500 crores in Delhi, and that's the main regulatory asset, and all others are very, very small
amounts,
few hundred. And these will, I think, get amortized, and the plan is that within
you should be paid within 7 years.
Within 7 years from the date of the order, which I think is before 2032, and this will happen on equivalent 7 yearly installments.
Yeah. Okay, and it's the process has started.
Yeah, absolutely right. And
the regulators are.
And APTEL is constantly monitoring it.
Okay, okay. The other thing I wanted to ask you is, like we discussed in the course of the conversation, every government, successive government has been taking some step to improve the Discom finances. Are you seeing a secular improvement in terms of receivables?
I think so. One of the biggest challenge used to be with the Discoms, and especially the government Discoms, was that they were not getting the subsidy paid from the state government on a timely basis. That has happened. So now the payment of subsidy has been streamlined to a very large extent. We also find that many of the state regulatory commissions are passing order on a timely basis, and they need to also ensure that the tariffs are cost reflective. So I think going forward things will improve. It has improved a lot in last few years. The type of discipline that we see from distribution companies based on the norms that was come up has ensured that payments are made on time to the generating companies and transmission companies. And if it is not done, you put it on the Prapti portal, and they are not supplied power through the exchanges.
Yes, the IEX doesn't supply them power.
Not only IEX, even the government run generating companies do not supply them. So I think there are huge lot of carrot and stick which is there, and the sector, that is why you find that there is growth not only in one part of the business which typically used to be generation, but also in transmission and distribution. And I do feel that in next 1 year you will see huge amount of distribution reforms happening in the country.
On that optimistic note, thank you very much, Dr. Sinha, for joining us. You leave us with a lot of optimism that the policy problems that were bedeviling this sector are getting sorted out, and the country will have cheaper power, more power, and reliable payments for that power. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you very much.